Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how you can use room database with paging. Also in this video I'm going to show you how you can make the paging implementation with the hilt. Also will display some data on the recycler view with the help of MVVM. So in this video I'm going to insert some record and then retrieve data and display all the records on the recycler view. So let's begin by adding some dependencies in our build.gradle file. So here I have few dependencies already noted down and I'll just simply adding inside the build.gradle file. So these are the dependencies for room, hilt, view model and dagger. So this first two dependencies are for the view model and next dependency is for the paging. And next two dependencies are for the room database. One is the room-runtime, one is the room-compiler. And next two dependencies are for the hilt. So one is again hilt-android and another is the hilt-android-compiler. And these three plugins we need to add inside our build.gradle file. So first plugin just to import the layouts or view. Second, since we are using the kapt, so we need to have this plugin here. So I can show you inside the room compiler and the hilt we are using, and this is the hilt plugin. And one more dependency we need to add inside our project level gradle file. So I'll open and inside our dependencies we'll paste that dependency. Now we'll simply close it and sync our project. So our project is synced now. First I am adding some packages. So first package I am adding for the database and I'm creating a file. You can create it with any name and I'm giving name as app database. So first thing we need to annotate it with the database and we need to extend it with the room database. And then we need to mark this class as the abstract. And inside this annotation we'll pass the entities that will go inside this square brackets and the version of the database. Since this is the first time, so I am giving version number 1 and export schema should be false. And now inside the companion object that is similar to static in Java, so I am defining a instance of this class. And now with the help of a function, I'll return the instance of this app database class. And now we'll check if db instance is null, then initialize it. That is room dot database builder, and inside our class type that will go outside the same class name, and inside this bracket first parameter is the application context, second parameter is the database class name, that is again same app database, and third parameter is the database name. So it's up to you what name you want to give here. And now we'll simply build it and return the db instance variable. Now we need a DAO, so I'm creating another interface that is the app DAO. So inside the DAO, we need to first annotate it with the name of DAO, and inside this we'll write our query, like query or insert, update, delete, whatever you want to do. All the query will go here. So this is get all record, that means it's retrieving the data, so that will be annotated with the query, and it will return this paging source, and inside this integer and the model. So I don't have any model right now, or the data file or entity. So let me write this query first. Select start from, so table name. So let's create an entity first. So I'm choosing a name, character data, and I'm annotating it with the entity, and we can give any table name. So I'm giving it name as character, and inside this bracket will define the parameters. So what columns it's going to have. So first column is the ID, that is the primary key, that auto generate should be true for it, and the column info will give any name like ID, and the variable will define it is integer type, and the default value is 0. Second parameter is column info as name equal to name. So I'm giving the column name as the name, and it will contains the string type of value. So our entity is ready. Now we'll use the same entity and pass it inside the paging source, and we know the table name now, as we just now defined inside the character data, and I'm just making it as the order by ID and description. So the records inserted at the end will retrieve first. Simple. And inside our app database, we'll define abstract function that will return just the app DAO. And inside our entities, we'll define our entity class. So we'll parse it here. So our app database is ready now. I'm defining another function which is the insert, so that we can insert some records inside the database. Then we'll use this select query to retrieve and display it on the paging. Now I'm creating another package that is for the dependency injection, and inside this I'm creating my module class, and as you know, module class should be annotated with the module and then annotate with the install in, and it should be a singleton component class. And now we need to define a function which can return the instance of our database, and it will return simply app database dot get appdb instance, and will pass this context. And when we define any function inside the module, then we need to annotate it as the singleton and provides. And now I'm creating another function that will return just the instance of app DAO. And when we have the app database instance, then we can simply call get app DAO function, which we define as the abstract. and then we'll mark this function as a singleton and provides. And when we have our app module, then we need to have the application class as well. So I am creating an application class now, and this is simple application class we just need to define, and we need to annotate it as the hilt-android app, and we need to extend it as the application. That's it for this class, but we need to declare this class inside our application tag, otherwise this is not going to work. So here we need to register it inside our manifest. That's it for this class. And now I need to create a repository class that will actually make a call to our room database, and we need to inject its constructor, and that will hold the instance of app.dow. And we'll simply create a function. One is to return the records of as a paging source. So the same return type we define inside our DAO. So that's why I'm keeping at the same signature for this function. So app.get all records, so that get all records have the same signature as the return type. Here I'm creating another function which is to insert record. So this can take as input character data, and then app.insert record, and we'll pass this character data object. So repository is also ready now. Now it's time to create a view model. So let's create a separate package, and inside this package I am creating a separate class as main activity view model. So first thing in this view model, we need to annotate as the hilt view model, and then we need to inject the repository inside the constructor. And then we will extend it with the view model class. Inside this, we'll simply define a function that will be get all records, and then it will be returning the flow paging data, and that will be the character data type. Paging config will define the page size, some records like 20, and the max size like 200. That's better. Another parameter will be the paging source factory, that is our repository dot get records. So that is the function which is going to return paging source, and then flow dot cache in view model scope. So this function is still showing some error. Okay, so this package is wrongly import. I need to import it properly. That should be the kotlin-x coroutine flow. This one is not the java util.concurrent. There you go. And I'm creating another function that is to insert some dummy records. So I'm just simply making a for loop. So 1 to 500, so it will insert 500 records, and I'm simply calling repository dot insert record, and we'll pass a object of character data. I'm giving as name dummy, and then we'll print this I for the index. That's it. So it will insert 500 records, and then we'll retrieve all the 500 records on the recycler view. So now it's time to add a recycler view inside our main activity layout file. Now inside our main activity, we'll be initializing our recycler view inside a separate function. That is a good habit to create a separate function for all the functionality. We'll be adding a linear layout manager. I'm simply adding a decoration, that is the separator for our recycler view row. Now we need the adapter, but we don't have any adapter, so we need to create an adapter, but we'll come to this point later. Before that, let's initialize our view model as it's already ready. So I'm just simply initializing my main activity view model. Inside our lifecycle scope dot launch when created, inside this block we'll call view model dot get all records that collect latest, and inside this block we'll simply submit it to the adapter. So we don't have any adapter right now. We'll come up to this point once we have the adapter. So before that, we'll call these two functions from the onCreate, and we'll mark this main activity as the Android entry point. So let's create our view adapter class. So this is not going to be the simple adapter class. This is going to be little different. That is the paging data adapter. So we need to extend it with the paging data adapter. Inside that we'll be defining our model or the data type, and then the view holder. So we will create my view holder, and we'll implement those two functions inside it, on create view holder and on bind view holder. And now we'll create our view holder class, that is my view holder. We just now gave the name above. Inside this constructor, we'll extend it with the RecyclerView view holder, and then we will pass view inside its constructor. So we'll pass this view, and now we'll define a function, the bind function. that will be holding the character data. And now we need to have another class, that is the diff util callback, and that need to be extend diff util dot item callback, and that is going to hold the same data type, character data, and there will override two functions, are item the same, are content the same. And now we'll check the old value and the new value. And similarly we'll check it here as well. And now we'll pass the same class to our view holder or the paging data adapter. And now inside our own create view holder, we'll inflate our layout. As usual, we do it for the regular regular adapters. So this is the same step. We'll pass the context, then inflate dot inflate, and we'll pass our layout file. So we don't have any layout right now, so let's create another layout file for our recycler row. First thing, we need to make it a wrap content, and then we need to add some views inside it. So I'm simply adding one text view because we just have one name to display. We are inserting just name, so we'll display it just name. So we'll pass the same class name here, layout recycler row dot parent dot comma false, and we'll return this view as our my view holder, instance of my view holder, and we'll pass this inflator. Now inside our on bind view holder, we'll simply call on bind holder.bind, and then we need a data, so get item, and we'll pass the position. We'll force it to not null. And now inside the bind function, we'll first retrieve the text view. We'll set the name, so character data dot name. So our adapter is ready. Now we'll simply set this adapter to our recycler view inside our main activity. So we'll define it. We'll initialize it here, and we'll set this to our recycler view adapter. Also, we'll use the same adapter and submit data, call the submit data function, and we'll set the data. And now I'm simply calling the insert function as well, so that it can insert some dummy records at the same time, and then we can retrieve and display all the records on a recycler view. So that's it. Let's run our application and let's see how it looks like. There you go. So you can see 500 records. So it is, as you see it here, I insert some 500 records and it is just 500. So you can see the dummy 500 records and it's scrolling perfectly. Let's keep scrolling to infinite. And why the fifth 500 records came on the top 501 index is because we are retrieving inside the decreasing mode. You can see it's keep extending, keep retrieving the records up and down. So guys, that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you.